Hey everyone, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. I've started working on my Christmas album this year, what others call the December Daily. So in this video, I'll be decorating the first couple of pages. And for this year's project, I made a mini album that serves as my base and that I only need to fill with papers and photos and then embellish a little bit. By the way, I'm sharing this mini album as free silhouette and SVG cut files on my blog MistyHilltops.com. So if you'd like to create an album like this or an album for any other theme, doesn't have to be Christmas, you can pick up the files from my website. It's fairly simple to put together, but each part of the album comes with a video tutorial just in case. And even if you don't own a cutting machine, you can still use the measurements to trim the pieces by hand and check out the tutorials to see how to put every part together. So here I am starting with the front flap. So back to my own album here. It comes with waterfall type flaps on the inside of the front cover, and they are just the right number that are the same number of days that I have from Thanksgiving to the end of November. So that's perfect because I started my album with Thanksgiving. So that's on the back side of this flap that you see there. And so December 1st, then we'll start on the front page of the first base page signature, which is just worked out beautifully. So I could keep the front cover, the inside of the front cover completely for November, and it's all November 24th through November 30th, and then I can start with the actual December album or December part of the album with the actual pages of this album. And so I decided with each of the flaps to just put a background paper, and then I created these pockets. Now these pockets I won't really be able to share as freebies on my blog because I used some of my existing silhouette files from my library that were designed by other designers, and I don't go ahead and take those designs. But what I did is I just created my own pockets, just using the designs and clipping them to these pockets so that they would become a little see-through, so that the background paper is still visible, or I'll be tucking it full of photos and journaling cards and other elements. So these pockets will actually be full with stuff, so that in the end you won't see that much from the background paper. But once you take things out to look at them, to look at the pictures, to look at the journaling card there, then obviously you can still see the back side. So for this page, I decided to put a little title at the top. I used one of my dies, my alpha dies, to just write out the title "Adorn," because that's the day that I decorated my home for Christmas. I do that on Black Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving, because where I come from, Sunday already is a Christmas holiday if you want. It's Advent, first Sunday of Advent, and where I come from, everyone celebrates Advent. It doesn't have any special kind of meaning. It's just part of the tradition in our country that people celebrate Advent by using Advent calendars. I grew up, not Advent calendars, Advent wreaths with candles and stuff. So I just grew up that, like in school, everywhere there are Advent wreaths, and it doesn't even have any religious meaning or anything. It's just how people are used to commemorating Christmas, those that like Christmas. So anyway, and because of that, I wanted my home obviously to be decorated before, but decoration is also part of the Christmas traditions. So decorating the house, decking the halls is part of the Christmas traditions, and so obviously I would want to include that in my album, which is why I like to start my album before December and then be able to add whatever activities are going on there. And so I don't like to call my album a December daily because it's definitely more than a December daily. So these are the pages so far. And again, I'm using a pocket for each of the flaps. And there are video tutorials of how I put the flaps in the book. But I keep those separate because you can use this album for any kind of theme. It doesn't have to be Christmas at all. And so obviously I wouldn't want it in my YouTube playlist as a Christmas video when you can use it for any other type project as well. So here I have a few embellishments. So there's a lot of what I do is print and cut because I only have a paper pack this year. So I don't really have the embellishments to go, and I have to create my own embellishments, but I have a lot of Christmas silhouette cut files. I use the times when Silhouette does sales, like just right now, even if you are watching this right after I upload. It's usually after for Black Friday. There's a whole week of special sales going on and stuff, so I pick up a lot of Christmas designs from the Silhouette store. And what I love to do is do print and cuts. Like you see there is on that belt on the right side of the screen, there's that little label there for Grateful that's still from that Thanksgiving belt. And I just recolor them and print them, and so I can reuse them every single year, but with a different design. I could make the background with a dark color and then just use white or lighter colors for contrast and stuff. So that's what I love about using these Silhouette cut files, because I can reuse them and reuse them and reuse them in every project that I create by simply recoloring them. And the Silhouette cut files do give you that, whereas if I bought finished products from like any paper company, that's what you get. You get like a finished image. But these Silhouette cut files, they can be ungrouped, and then if they're not already ungrouped, and then they can be recolored. Even individual parts can be recolored, and I like to use that. So that's that little candle there that you see in the corner. And so that's different elements. You'll find it all throughout my album that I use things that I then use my Silhouette, first my printer to print and then my Silhouette to cut. And if you want to know how to get perfect print and cuts, I don't use the Silhouette print and cut feature. I use my own way, and I have a video, and I'll link it up below in the description box to let you know how I do get perfect print and cuts. If you look at that circle, you see like the circle is cut around the circle almost pretty much perfectly. The angle may not show it right now, but it is like almost perfectly cut around. I find that the Silhouette print and cut feature doesn't give as much perfection there. So anyway, here I created a tag for this pocket, and it's the first Sunday of Advent. I know I made some calculations there, and I know that that will be photos of my Advent wreath with the first candle burning. That's what I usually do on Sundays. And so here I'm just adding some journaling lines so that I can do some journaling on there. But it's basically a tradition. Every Christmas, every Sunday of Christmas, I do have pictures of my Advent wreath. And every year I try to make it look a little different, so it's not the same every year, although it is a tradition that I keep up. And again, the pocket I created from other parts that I have in my Silhouette design store, and I just use those elements to create this pocket. So it's kind of, I like how it turned out with this see-through kind of thing. This was actually from a card design for a Christmas card that I got years ago, and I just thought I could reuse it in a pocket style again. And so this is where photos will go for my Advent wreath there. And then here comes the next page. This one, again, I start with a background paper that I glue onto the flap of this album. And this is the last flap. There is a pocket which I will not finish in this video. That would be November 30th. And I have a whole bunch of, like I said, I have a whole bunch of labels. I get those labels from the Silhouette store. I can recolor them every year and use them in different ways, and then I print them on cardstock, and some of them I print really tiny, some of them I print a little bigger, and then they can be my embellishment for this album. And then I also use this, you see this Holly Jolly, I have this die cut set. It's for a card, but I wanted to be able to tuck something else here that I knew that day would be a work day. It's for Monday. A work day is usually busy, that I don't have time to do any special Christmassy kind of things, and so I wanted some embellishment there. And then this is my last flap that will get paper, and then there you see the pocket. There is a background paper that will go inside. Nothing is glued down yet because I haven't decided yet on how I want to embellish the outside. I put these ornaments there, but I think I may change that still. So I'm still thinking about it, but this is days in advance at this point because we're still on November 26th, so that would be November 30th, and I have time to think about what I want to do. And then for the rest of the album, I think I will probably go more day to day because I want to see how many photos I take. Then I can decide if I want a pocket where I can tuck in more photos if there's days that I have lots of photos, or if it's days with fewer photos, then I can decide how I want to use the pattern papers and stuff like that. Because I do want to not just use pocket designs. I love pocket designs. I love the flexibility that those give, because I can tuck in as many photos as I want or as few photos that I have for that day. So it just always depends on what happens on that particular day. And so I love the flexibility with the pages. But again, decorating one individual page will just go very quickly with this album already being done and ready. And so I can really go day to day and fill up my album this way. And so here I have this little embellishment cluster there. Again, one of the labels from the Silhouette that I cut out, and then for the background I used one of my circle dies, and then I used another just a pine twig die, and then obviously those baking utensils there that go into the pocket, because this is a page about baking. And here I'm creating my journaling card. So a lot of my journaling cards I designed years ago, and then I started recreating them in Silhouette, because that way I can easily recolor them and just print them from my Silhouette. And that's what I do now. And I am sharing my journal cards on my blog, mistyhilltops.com. So if you are interested, you can go check it out. Everything I share on my blog are freebies. There's no fee or anything. It's all freebies. So if you're interested in checking out these things, anything that is not based on a design by somebody else, I am willing to share at this stage. So this is yet again another label from the Silhouette store. I reduced it in size to this tiny bit, and then I used one of my label cut files from the Silhouette. So I just keep reusing things and just resize them to these tiny, so they make a nice little embellishment for my album. And this is how far I want to go for today, except that I still want to add the day tabs. Now, I'm not going to use tabs every day of this album, as pretty as it looks. I love that it looks this way in my album on the first page even already, but I want to have the flexibility. I have other dies that I want to use, and some numbers will be big, some numbers will be small, some numbers will be stamped, some numbers will just be die cut. I may use my Silhouette for some of the numbers, so we'll see. And I want to keep that flexibility, but I love that I had these 3 pages here or these 3 flaps as a waterfall, and it made it real pretty with these tabs, where I just use like a Tim Holtz die to to cut the numbers. And sorry, this is a little off screen here. It's a little difficult to work with such a big project like this album, which goes so far on both sides, actually, because it opens to both sides. So this is my album so far. These are the first basically, I guess, 6 days that I created. Here are some more close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing and come back for more videos coming on my December Daily 2022. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.